Welcome back to the One Piece of Johnny. Let's go ahead and hop on into a One Piece match that we did the other day. It's so fun. It was so good. Honestly, like outside of a couple misplays and us just being stupid and forgetting the fact that One Piece is not like every other card game, it was really fun, not gonna lie. So let's go ahead and hop right on into it. So, to start off, it's obviously you can see by looking at the board, it's Zoro versus Kid, Zoro Aggro versus Kid Control. Let me see if I'll see if I can get the deck list from my brother. Put in like a link down. Put it in the description down below. But I will definitely include the deck list that I'm running in the description down below. But I was really wanting to test out Aggro before I switched over to Tempo. As you guys can see, I already kind of had a little bit of Tempo cards in the deck by playing Frankie, for example. But overall, yeah. So let's go ahead and hop on right into the match, do some post commentary, and just kind of like go over the match. I'm also gonna put this at playback speed times 2, because like I don't know, like yeah. Let's why are you like this? Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Playback speed and faster. Cool, there we go. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and hop right on into the match and see what all we didn't do. So to start off, I'm pretty sure I end up keeping this hand. It's honestly a pretty good hand, especially since going second, because I could just drop Luffy and then use its effect to protect it with Strike. I don't think that's actually what I do, though. But that's probably what I should have done if I don't end up doing it. He did win the die roll. He did decide he wanted to go first, so you get that Bonnie. And yeah, no, I drew Nami, so I was like, okay, well, instead of playing the Luffy, I'm going to go ahead and play Nami along with Savity. I've been playing a lot of Celestials, so I kind of just like completely forgot. I completely forgot that I don't have to attach the Dawn, and that looks really confusing. And then we shuffle the cards in, and he ends up doing it later on too, instead of putting it at the bottom, just because of the fact that like it's not like every other card game. I do end up grabbing Zoro here because I want to have more rush. I don't know what all I'm gonna end up needing. I end up passing the turn because obviously I can't play any more cards. Nami is sitting there with a Dawn attached to it for no reason whatsoever. Here's where I realized, oh wait, no, Celestials. This isn't Celestials. This is One Piece. So he ends up activating Bonnie here. I don't remember when we start realizing the fact that we're playing everything wrong. But yeah, no, this isn't where we realize we're playing everything wrong. Yeah. So. We were over here. He grabs a beige, gets that beige. Beige is really good. I really think that Zoro has like the favorable matchup in this situation, but I'm not playing many cards with like shield value, so that kind of sucks a little bit. Not gonna lie. I also end up doing some stupid things all throughout this. I do take the damage. It's the 5-drop Luffy, which is a really good card. I love it from the starter deck. Rush has the ability to turn off blockers, knowing that green is one of the meta decks at the moment. Not the best deck, but it is a meta deck at the moment. I kind of realized, oh, well, I need to have that in the deck, even if it's even if it's just a 2 or 3 of. But I'm running it as a 4 of in this build because I'm like still experimenting with the decks I want to build. I end up dropping Robin here because Robin's a really powerful card. He's playing a lot of blockers, and I know him as an individual plays blockers. I end up attacking with Nami here, pop Sabani, and I end up attacking Zoro. I use Zoro to attack. He ends up taking the damage, I believe. Yes, he does end up taking the damage, which I don't know if I agree with necessarily. I honestly think he should have blocked it or used beige, but hey, that's what he did, so he did it. So we end up going like, he's over here debating on what he wants to do. He has a lot of cards in hand. I think he has like 7, but because of the TTS thing, it doesn't actually show you his hand. But yeah, overall, like honestly, it looks like a really like stereotypical version of the game. I think he ends up dropping Izo here. Yeah, he ends up dropping Izo here and resting Robin because he doesn't want Robin to just pop off to blockers before he can activate their effects, which is justifiable. I mean, that's understandable that he would do that. I'm also redirecting attacks from him. To my units whenever I do that, so it's basically like being able to survive a little bit longer without actually having to worry about anything. I actually don't remember, we didn't know that we could hit unsuspend to untap everything, so that's what that was, where I was like, what do I do? I ended up dropping 3 here to play Frankie because I want to make sure that I can start attacking stuff that's ready. I'm not sure if I should be playing the Luffy or not, so that's what that was. I do end up dropping the Luffy here. I also think that I forget to attack with Zoro here. There are a couple times where I forget to attack with Zoro. No, I do attack with Zoro here. Okay, cool. Um, I end up attacking him. He's debating on whether or not he wants to block the 5K. So it's he has a 10K block. No, he doesn't have the 1K block, so he's fine. He then does turn passes over to him. Unfortunately, I don't know why I played the Luffy, to be honest with you. We were actually talking about it during the match. We were like, oh, well, Luffy actually doesn't do anything for this matchup because you don't run any strike characters. You just run a bunch of slash characters and special characters. So, it was honestly like a really like why did I drop the Luffy instead of just equipping Dawn and attacking, because I could have gotten 5K in at Kid for potentially forcing out the beige, but it's whatever. So he ends up debating on what he wants to do here. I mean, like, honestly, I would attack with the beige too. It's probably what he's thinking, but that's not what he's thinking. So he ends up resting. He ends up using Law to bounce Izo to he ends up bouncing Izo back to hand and then playing the Izo with Law's effect, resting my Frankie so that he can potentially he could potentially attack over it. I end up blocking with Chopper because I was like, I want to make sure that I keep my Frankie because I need to start applying pressure to his board. Frankie being able to attack some of his standing units is honestly like one of the things I needed to do. I end up attacking Kid here, I believe. Or, not Kid, Killer. I end up taking Killer here. He blocks with beige because he understands the fact that I'm trying to get rid of Killer, so honestly, like, he's going to block with beige. Luffy doesn't really do anything for me here. I'm over here debating. I have like 5 cards in my hand I can play right now. 4 cards in my hand I can play right now that I'd love to play right now, but I don't know which ones to play. It's either, I end up playing Zoro. I was also debating on the Cavendish and Luffy. So it was really in the air with what I was going to end up doing there. So I end up swinging at 6 at Kid because I want to try to force out the Law block. He ends up taking it, takes Killer, and Killer comes in, pops Zoro. No, he pops Frankie, I believe. He pops Frankie. Frankie was the right call there. I agree with that. I go ahead and activate Luffy's effect, so Luffy attaches to Dawn. So Luffy's sitting at 6K right now, so he's gonna start swinging. He's gonna swing at Kid. He ends up blocking it with a 2K, so he's at 7K. He says something like Kid's 7K, and I'm like, what? And I'm over here looking at Kid, going like, it's a 5K. What are you talking about 7K? But he's counting him whenever he added in Beppo. So. I end up tapping 3 to play another Zoro, swing Zoro directly at Kid, try to force out another block. I do force out another Izo from hand, which is good. I really love seeing all the cards that I'm forcing out of his hand. He actually did tell me during the match, he's like, oh, I had mostly Izo in hand, and I thought he meant like he bounced back Izo and to play Izo. I didn't actually know that, like, I didn't really get what he meant when he said it. But yeah, there was that. I actually did know. So he does play X-Drake here, and he kills Zoro. Obviously knew Zoro was going down there. Luffy's not really doing much. Zoro's a 5K body naturally. Luffy's effect is kind of irrelevant overall. All it just means that he becomes a 5K attacker, and Zoro's just a 5K attacker without having an effect. So now he ends up just attaching a bunch of Dawn to Izo because he wants to try to get damage in. I don't think he actually goes for the damage. I think he attacks Zoro here, if I remember correctly. He's also telegraphing the fact that he doesn't have any counter cards in hand. So he ends up attacking the Zoro. I debate about whether or not I should block it. I do end up blocking it with a 6. I do end up making a 6K. He swings at my leader. I end up taking the damage because, I mean, like, why would I not take the damage? There's no point not to take the damage. I end up getting a Robin off the top. He doesn't attack with Law, so there's that. I'm sitting at my hand. I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, oh my god, I have nothing except for Big Boy. Let's go. He's big. He's big. He's strong. He's massive. I end up attaching 2 Dawn with Luffy's effect. I end up attaching another Dawn to Zoro. This means that I can have a lot of a lot of pressure going off. I haven't seen any of his counters, so I don't know what he's running. So I'm kind of playing into everything by being being stupid and playing into everything that he could potentially have. Zoro ends up swinging at Kid, I believe. It's Kid, yeah. It didn't matter because he ended up blocking it anyways, but. We end up seeing 6K going directly at Kid, or Izo, maybe? No, I think it's Kid. Pretty sure I'm swinging at Kid. I might be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. 6, and then he ends up dropping a blocker as well. He ends up countering as well, so to make sure that I can't kill it. I swing 6 at Law. I'm pretty sure I'm swinging at Law if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. Trying to just force out anything I can here. Yeah, I do swing at Law, trying to force out more cards, and he does end up dropping enough cards to block it. So Law survives another turn, but hey, it's whatever. I forced a lot of cards out of his hand. I've gotten board control back in place. I mean, like, I'm looking amazing right now. Like, honestly, I don't see how I lose this is what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking, like, hey, you know, like, I could end up losing this somehow, but I don't really see how I end up losing this. My opponent ends up, like, looking at the board, and he's like, he's gonna play a card, kill it, and that sucks. He played another X-Drake and popped off my Zoro, and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, oh, great, Cavendish is the only card I have in my hand that I can really play right now to, like, you know, actually apply more pressure. And I'm thinking, do I have an out? Because he has one blocker, and I'm thinking, like, if I can apply enough damage here, I'd be fine. He does end up attaching Dawn and then unequipping the Dawn, and he's, like, debating on whether or not he should finish attaching the Dawn, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I could call him on it, but I don't want to. I was like, the key point of us doing this is practice and play test, so he ends up debating on how he's going to attack this, and he ends up swinging at my Luffy. I'm like, yeah, as long as he's not attacking my leader, I mean, I'm fine. So even if he is just attacking my other stuff, I mean, it's cool. I end up getting an Nami at the top, so it's a 10k shield. He ends up restanding Kid, and he swings Kid at me, and I get another Luffy, which is another 10k shield. So I do get Chopper here, but I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, drop the Chopper. He has 2 life, 1 card in hand. So honestly, I think this is the pinnacle of the turn. I believe this is the finale of the turn, the finale of the game. I just can't remember how I go about it. I know I attached the Dawn there. I do attach. I do attach 1 Dawn. Yeah, 1 Dawn. So she's sitting at 6k. Come on. What am I doing? What am I thinking? Yeah, 6k popping Izo. Because I did the choice between Izo and Kid. Izo and Killer, because I didn't want him dropping a Law and bouncing them back to hand. He ends up resting one of my characters. He rests Chopper, and I'm like, okay, how do I win this? How do I actually win this? And this is where we realized we'd been misplaying the effects the entire time, because they have to go to the bottom. I end up grabbing Guard Point, I believe? Yeah, I end up grabbing Guard Point, because my board is full, and I'm not trying to get rid of cards. I really am not trying to get rid of cards. I end up putting Robin and Frankie on the bottom, because I want to drop the guard points if we ever get to that point, before I draw those 2, because I don't really need the bodies. Like, the bodies are kind of not relevant. I use Luffy's effect to equip 2 to monkey to himself, and I end up swinging him directly at the Kid, trying to make sure that I can get more damage in. I'm like doing math like this entire time, and I'm like, can I win? Do I have outs? Like, actually, do I have outs? So I end up swinging 6 at Kid. He takes it, and I'm like, okay, I have game. I just need to figure out how I have game, right? Like, because everything on board says I win this, right? No, it's 2. I need to do 2. Yeah, I think I do 2. Okay, yeah, I play Cavendish here, and I use Cavendish's effect to take 1 life. And then I swing Cavendish for 5 at my opponent. My opponent blocks, or yeah, and then I swing with Nami because he did the block. So if he had just let Law die there. If he had just let Law die there, Nami would have been at 6, so... No, I still would have connected. Because I believe Raizo is a 1k shield. So there is that. Now, we're shuffling up and we're going into the next game. And I'm feeling pretty good about my matchup. Out of the 2 of us, I'm the one that's played the most. And I'm the one who knows the most about the set. And I'm the one who knows most of the meta. So I was kind of like... Going into it and winning game 1, I'm like thinking like, okay, I can even afford to choke game 2 here. Like I did a good job in that game 1. That game 1 was really in my favor. So I'm looking at my hand and I'm like, oh my god, this hand is cracked. Like, actually, oh my god. I'm like, Nami, yes, please. Nami, mommy, let's go. Give me my cards. Thank you. And then I'm like cracking a joke about how I can't search Nami with Nami, and I'm like, aw, aw. I put Nami on top because I want to make sure that even if I go back into the deck at any point in time, right, I can go ahead and grab a like if I get to the bottom of my deck and like based on the Savati effects and stuff like that, I'll be able to access the Nami so that I can get another search off. So that's kind of why I put Nami like that. Why I, like stack Nami on top, because Nami's always going to give me access to the rest of those cards. So obviously you always put Nami at the top in that situation. So he's looking at his hand. And he's like, I don't know what to do here, because like I activate Bonnie, but it turns off half the other cards in my hand. So I'm like, yay! The whole entire 3 balancing thing is so nice for me. I love it. Ah man, like all of Green's cards costing 3 is so good. I'm like looking at my phone because I'm like, he's not gonna cheat. He's not gonna cheat. He's not gonna cheat. He adds the law to his hand, and I actually have to ask him like what he added to hand. That's why I put it back down on the board to show me what he got. I'm thinking shoot, right? Like I'm thinking no, this sucks. He just got a law. Like I'm not in a great spot right now, right? So. I end up looking at my hand, and I'm like, how do I do stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, you know what? Zoro does stuff, so let's just drop Zoro. So I end up swinging 3 at Bonnie, 6 at Kid, and I swing another 6 at Kid. He ends up taking it, gets Killer, pops off Zoro, and I end up passing the turn here, because, like, hey, why not? Here I'm cracking a joke about how Nami won me the game last game, so, like, honestly, he should start focusing more on Nami as well, because, like, Mommy is, like, actually straight up just, like, dominating, and, it's a card that he needs to be concerned about, but he's just like, nah, man, I ain't worried over the Nami. Nami's Nami. It doesn't even have an effect once it's on play, so hey, it's fine. I'm like, Zoro doesn't either, and he's like, Zoro's a 5k body, and that's, like, big. So, that's why he ends up attacking over Zoro. That's why he ends up popping Zoro with Killer instead. He's debating on whether or not where he's going to put that other Dawn. He could put it on Killer or he could put it on Kid. But he ends up dropping it on Killer. He ends up dropping it on Kid, which is probably the best choice. Not Killer. That's Jack? No, I can't remember. I end up taking 1 life here. Yep. Okay. It is Frankie. So that's always a fun card to see. This is where he tells me, like, you can hit unsuspended. I'm like, oh, I'm dumb. Duh. Everything's suspended. Duh. Okay. I end up looking at the board, and I'm like, I think I play... I don't know why I played Luffy. I can't tell you what my thought process was when I played Luffy. I end up swinging 5 directly at Kid. And I believe he blocks it. Yeah, he blocks it. So you can draw that card and try to get a better board presence because of the fact that Killer really doesn't do much, right? Like, in all reality, Killer's not doing anything for him. So he's like, I want to get actual pressure applied on the board, and that's why he ended up doing that. His Ino is going to be very annoying, or Okiku. His Okiku is going to be really annoying. He ends up resting Chopper. Which I'm like, okay, yeah, I get to keep Frankie. I'm cool with this, 100%. Let's go. I'm like, if you're gonna let me keep my Frankie, I mean, like, I'm not gonna be mad about it, like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. He ends up looking at that board and he's like, like, this kind of, I have pressure right now. And Okiku's like, yeah. He's debating on where he wants to throw his attacks right now. He can attack in Chopper, or he can attack in Zoro. Zoro's like kind of like completely open. He does end up attacking Zoro with Okiku and resting Luffy. He ends up swinging Kid at Zoro, I believe. I think he's attacking Zoro here. I do end up blocking it one way or the other because of the fact... yeah, it was Zoro. It was Zoro. He was attacking Zoro. I do end up blocking it one way or the other because I don't want to be taking extra damage for no reason whatsoever. What is he thinking? What am I thinking? I'm like, Frankie attacks. I want to kill Law. That's basically my reality in life in general. Is I just want to kill Law. So I'm over here swinging at Law. Let's get rid of him. Let's just get rid of Law. And he's debating on whether or not he wants to block this or how he wants to block it. He ends up blocking it with a Killer, which is good because I mean, like, it makes it to where I'm going to be attacking Okiku here. I'm being at 6k, and Okiku is at 5, I believe. So he ends up dropping a 2k shield because he knows the fact that he can block it. I end up swinging directly with my Luffy at Okiku because I want to get rid of Okiku. I think I was attacking Okiku with Frankie as well. Forgot about that. So he ends up getting Punk Gibson resting one of my choppers, and I'm like, oh, great, thanks, man. Appreciate that. He ends up redawning one too many times, and I'm like, no, you don't do that. And he was like, yeah, you don't do that. We end up going like, we're having fun. We're having a good time because, like, you know, it's fun. It's fun to play games with your brother. So he's like, drop Kid. And I'm like, bro, what? I'm not expecting this. I'm like, what? What did you just do? He drops Kid, he drops Beige. So he's like stacking up on blockers. I know for a fact that he's about to try to kill Luffy. And I'm like, this sucks. This sucks. He's like being mean to me. And I'm like, this isn't cool, man. Now all of my attackers have to hit 7k whenever they like start swinging, just because of the fact that Kid sucks. Kid's a dick. But it's whatever. It's whatever. We're just like, okay, we're having fun. We're having a jolly good time. We're gonna have fun. And he's like, how do I do math? And I'm like, you suck. I'm like, you're thinking about doing math against me, your own brother. That's just mean. So I don't know what. I don't remember what he's talking about. Can I, like, just turn this on? Kid the boss. Okay, cool. So he's 72nd Kid. He's swinging Izo at Chopper, which I'm fine with, because, like, the longer that he doesn't attack Luffy... Yeah, and then here's where I block it with Chopper, I believe. Yeah, I block it with Chopper, because I don't have enough shield. And, yeah, he ends up passing the turn here, because, I mean, like, you know, like, what are you gonna do? This basically puts me in a winning position because I didn't expect to go through this turn with Luffy still intact. So I'm like, okay, how do I do this? I'm like, I have a lot more to work with than I thought I would. So I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't want to drop Cavendish because I know, like, for a fact that I'm going to end up taking an attack next turn, one way or the other. So I'm swinging at 6 over here at Law, I believe. Trying to bait out that Kid. I end up baiting out Beige instead. And I'm not like amazed that he actually blocked with Beige instead of letting me just kill Law. Because of the fact that, like, I can actually just, if I have the cards for it, I can just swing all in at him right now and kill him. And he can do nothing about it. But here I'm going to go ahead and throw a bunch of cards onto Frankie. This is 7, and I'm going to swing him at Kid, which is going to be 7. So he's going to have to block, which gets rid of Killer. And apparently puts it in the white thing, and I like the bit that covers everything up if you do it like that. So, yeah, it's whatever. I'm thinking about how I want to do this. I can do a lot of things here, and like I can attach to Dawn to Luffy and swing it at Kid or at Law. Try to get rid of Law, but I'm not entirely sure what I end up going here for. I don't know what I'm thinking about. I genuinely don't know what I'm thinking when I'm doing this right now. I end up dropping Frankie, and I'm like, okay, cool. This allows me to get more board pressure going for the next turn. Make sure that I can also use Luffy's effect without attaching Dawn that's unattached. I use Luffy, he's at 7 right now, to attack into, I think Law, maybe? It's either Law or Kid. Yeah, it's Law. Right? Yeah, Law. Okay, because that's 2k. Okay, cool. I'm thinking about how I want to do this. It's like, you know, I think I end up attaching 2 and attacking Law, right? Kid. Oh, it's a Kid. Okay. Yeah, attack Kid. Go. Okay. I end up getting rid of the Kid, which is really important because I don't want him to attack with a 7k blocker, and then get it back. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got rid of Kid. We're fine. I'm in a great position now. I'm in a winning spot. I'm fine. As long as he doesn't understand that he can kill me at any point he wants to, I'm in a great spot. So he bounces Izo back to hand, he plays Okiku, and I'm like, this sucks. Now he has like a massive board of blockers, and I'm in a very horrible situation. However, because of the fact that he bounced Izo back to hand instead of attacking with Izo first, I'm actually in a rather good position, to be honest. It's a bad position, but a good position. He ends up swinging Kid, or he ends up swinging Law at me. Law's at 7, Kid's at 6, so I'm like, okay, I'll take this. And I actually get really lucky with my trigger here, and I get a minus 10,000. So I'm like, you're gonna see me celebrating? I'm like, yeah, woohoo! I'm like, yeah. I'm like, doing a great job here, guys. It's awesome. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm like, I'm like, he's like, oh no, I lost. He realizes he can't win this, like, at this point, because it's like, I have too much going for me at this point. I have multiple attackers. I have a thing that can ignore blockers. I have a lot of offense on my board, and there's really nothing he can do about it, right? Like, being honest with you, like, I swing at him, and I have 7. I have 8 because I forgot to attach Thon to Zoro, and I'm pointing that out, and I'm like, oops. I messed that up. I got overexcited with the fact that I was pretty sure I had lethal, and I was like, oh no, this sucks. So I'm like attaching everything to everybody at this point, because I'm like, okay, well, I know I can actually deal with this shit, but like, let's say yeah. So he ends up defending Law, and I'm like, okay, well, just attack Law, and I attach 2, and I'm like, okay, well, Luffy attacks Kid, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, Zoro attacks with 8, I believe. Yes, 8. And I'm like, okay, well, my Zoro has 6, so if you have a 2K blocker, I guess I'm just dead. And he has a 1K blocker, and I'm like, yes, I win! It was such a good game. All around, like, that was a really great game. I actually enjoyed it. It was really fun. You know, like, it was... It really was, like, you know, a good example of, like, how Zoro can just kind of, like, stick in, and, like, how he can, like, just kind of, like, push off enough pressure to where he's able to out-pressure even some of the best offensive decks with combo pieces. So, that being said, I have been JadeJonny, and this has been the One Piece of Johnny, and I will be seeing you guys later with another One Piece TCG match.